A vaccine passport, a digital way to prove you've been vaccinated in order to travel, might be a thing of our future, but it's also a thing of the past. It's a modern-day play on a vaccine card, which is often a yellow sheet of paper documenting a person's vaccine history.
These COVID-19 vaccination records are a new thing, but we've had records of vaccination doses for a long time. And these are doses which you've had to show when you enroll your kids in daycare, when you get into elementary school, when you matriculate into college. So we've already used these a lot, even when crossing borders.
Formally, such documentation is called an International Certificate of Vaccination or Prophylaxis. It was created by the World Health Organization to serve as a medical passport.
Starting in the 1930s, there was a series of international sanitary conventions, which resulted in there being international certificates issued for several different vaccines, including smallpox, cholera, yellow fever.
The trigger for this was air travel. People started to realize that you could bring diseases quickly from one country to another. They didn't want to spread diseases, particularly malaria, yellow fever. So they began to look at vaccination requirements.
Some refer to this as a yellow card, as it was and is used globally as proof that someone received a yellow fever vaccination. This card became a necessary part of some international travel beginning in the 1950s.
There's a lot of countries which are endemic with yellow fever, which will require you to have vaccination prior to arrival, or if you come from these locations, you might need to have documentation of vaccination.
A yellow fever vaccination is still required for all travelers to enter several African countries, and for some travelers entering parts of Asia, the Caribbean, and elsewhere. A polio vaccination is also required in certain parts of the world. As for coronavirus, countries like China have already started to issue digital vaccination certificates. The European Union is also hoping to provide what they're calling digital green certificates for vaccinated citizens. And the Biden administration announced it is looking into a VaxPass system.
There's currently an interagency process that is looking at many of the questions around vaccine verification.
Some people are going to protest and say vaccine passports internally or vaccine authentication is forcing vaccination. It isn't. It's just going to restrict your freedom of movement. And I think you can expect many more Americans are going to want to get vaccinated to capture that freedom.
At the root of some discussions around vaccine passports is equity. Is it fair to require such documentation?
There could be equity issues, who is able to access a vaccine. I think of like what are homeless populations going to be able to do? People who don't have access to the internet or who don't have a smartphone, how are they going to be able to have this documentation?
I can imagine a number of countries dependent on tourists and people saying, look, I'm not going there unless you can prove that you're all vaccinated, or vice versa. You can't come and visit us. And they're going to be complaining that it's just not fair. You didn't give us the vaccine. So how can you expect us to have proof of vaccination if we can't get vaccines? I don't think that situation will last much past another year or two, but it's going to come.